New, never-before-seen documents from Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of the Russian interference into the 2016 election have been released today by the Justice Department as part of a Freedom of Information request by BuzzFeed News. Some 500 pages of so-called 302 reports from the FBI shedding some new light on a conspiracy theory that was pushed by the president's campaign manager turned felon, Paul Manafort, the role Steve Bannon played in the Trump campaign after Manafort's firing, and the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. And let's go to BuzzFeed News reporter Jason Leopold, who did the digging on all of this. And Jason, I was reading your report on this. It came out all today. You guys have been trying to get a hold of this since April of this year. Headline me, what were some of the takeaways that you found on this first batch of 500?
Sure. Well, we're still going through these documents, but probably the most notable takeaway right now is the fact that Trump's campaign had been pushing the conspiracy theory that Ukraine was involved in the DNC hack in 2016. Obviously, something that is now connected to the impeachment query. There's some fascinating details in here about Steve Bannon's interview with the FBI, where he tells the FBI that Jared Kushner was vacationing off the coast of Croatia with a Russian billionaire, and that his own intelligence sources told him that the girlfriend of the Russian billionaire who was with them was, quote, questionable, and that they needed Jared Kushner to come back to the U.S. They had 85 days to go. They didn't have much money, and they needed Kushner to fire Manafort. In another 302, an interview with Michael Cohen, which goes into great detail about the Trump Tower Moscow project, Michael Cohen's testimony before Congress, the fact that he was more or less being told to lie before Congress, which we reported earlier. There's a lot of new detail in there. In all of these files, there's some emails, there's some new information about Eric Prince and his role. But I also want to note that these are heavily redacted FBI 302 memos. But despite the fact that they are heavily redacted, it's just chock full of new information. Yeah,
there's some interesting nuggets in all of this, at least that I've seen from your article that you posted just a few hours ago on BuzzFeed. Take us back really quickly, because you guys filed some 5 FOIA requests, or Freedom of Information Act requests, through the DOJ to get access to the 1.7 billion pages of documents from the Mueller report?
Well, it's actually, we filed multiple Freedom of Information Act requests. We then sued the government under the FOIA to pry loose these records. The government, in response to our ongoing litigation, claims that the Mueller investigation amassed possibly as many as 19 billion, with a B, 19 billion pages of records. They haven't proven that yet. Yeah. They also told us it would take centuries to release everything. But today, we have the first trickle out of documents from that cache. So it's just an opportunity for the public to see what went on behind the scenes.
And it does give us a little bit of a window into the world that was the Trump campaign, including, according to your writing, that Manafort was advising the campaign straight up until Election Day. And there were many people who were saying this guy, including Steve Bannon, to avoid him like the plague. Why?
Yeah, and it's obviously questionable about what Steve Bannon was specifically referring to, but we do have that email in there, and it's very notable. Clearly, his role with connections to Russia, with Ukraine, with Yanukovych, and politics that were ongoing in the Ukraine. But there's a lot here that really kind of, you get to look behind the curtain to see what was happening during those 3 weeks and why they were very skittish on Manafort as revelations about Ukraine started to surface.
All right, well, some 500 pages released from the DOJ today. We know how Jason Leopold will be spending his weekend. Fun times.
Indeed.
Over the next few years for you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.